welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. I'm Lisa Curcio. I'm going to teach you how to make a lower double gatefold today, and you're not going to need any specialty dies whatsoever to create it. And I'm going to teach it to you two different ways. You're going to be able to use 12 by 12 cardstock or 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I've got some variations for you with tonight's additional samples. Now, if you are here with us for tonight's premiere, you're going to find us in the live chat with you. We love to interact with you. So make sure you log into your YouTube account, which uses your Gmail address, so that we can chat with you live and answer your questions. Gina Hawley is there with me right now, and we would love to get to know you. You're going to want to grab tonight's free project sheet when the premiere is all over. That's going to be linked down in the video description for you below. It's going to contain pictures, cutting dimensions, and supplies, and a template for tonight's project. I will be using some non-Stampin' Up! Products, and I refer to those to my craft room favorites. You'll be able to find those on my website under Shop Craft Room Favorites. You'll have links there for those products as well. And as well as every other product in my Stampin' Up! Online store at lisastampstudio.com. And if you love fun fold cards like I do, you are going to love the online stamping retreat. Registration is now open for the June 14th event if you live in the US, Canada, or Europe. If you live in Australia or New Zealand, that'll be on June 15th, and we would love to have you join us. Myself and Gina partner with Kylie Bertucci, who's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, and her amazingly creative husband, Bruno, for a full day of fun fold cards. This is an event like you've never seen before. Here's a little bit about what you can expect. You're going to get immediate access to the event where you're going to get pre-cutting dimensions in case you'd like to stamp along with us. It's interactive and live, but you don't have to watch it live if you don't want to. We do 50 giveaways throughout the day. You're going to get a huge PDF tutorial library. Our last one is over 230 pages with full color photos, step-by-step instructions, and cutting dimensions for all the projects. There are 32 projects in all, and we provide a total of 6 demonstrations throughout the day. You'll have lifetime access to all of the recordings. You can come back and watch them as often as you'd like. And for those of you that have returned, or maybe you are new, you're going to love our merchandise. This retreat's pin is this adorable Vespa pin, which you all voted on at the last retreat. You're going to be able to find registration details and, of course, merchandise information over on the website at onlinestampingretreat.com. We would love to have you join us. All right, we're ready. Let's get started on today's project. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be teaching you this fun fold card two different ways. The first way is actually using 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So the base is 5 by 10.5. We're going to do some very simple score lines and some cutting. On the 10.5 inch side, we're going to score at 3.5 inches. So let's go ahead and line that up. There's a nice straight ledge here at the top. The light blade is for scoring. While we're here, we are also going to make a cut. So I'm going to navigate the dark blade up. I'm holding up the guide. And from the very top, we are going to cut down 2 inches, which is going to be here on the right-hand side. So I'm just going to drag the blade to the 2-inch mark, and we'll bring it back up. I'm going to move that cutting blade out of the way, and now we're going to score at 7 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the extendable arm. We're going to come over here to 7 inches, and we are going to score. This time, we are going to cut down to the 3-inch mark. So I'm keeping my finger here since I moved the blade up. I'll go ahead and drop it, and we're going to cut down to 3 inches. Now we're going to take the card and we're going to rotate it. In essence, what we're going to do is we're going to cut away the section from here to here and here to here, leaving the center section intact. I'm going to line up at the 3-inch mark, because remember we cut to 3 inches here. I'm going to drop it with my cutting blade, and I'm going to cut down to meet that cut, and that's going to remove this piece. Now we're going to cut down to 2 inches. Since we've removed this part, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the straight edge here at the bottom and line it up at 2 inches. You'll remember that's a 2-inch deep cut. And then we're just going to cut up to that slit. And that will remove this part. This is what the card base is going to look like. Now you have a couple options. You can fold in this way, or you can invert it, which means the larger flap will be on the right and the smaller flap will be on the left, which is what I'm going to do today. There's no right or wrong way. The cutting dimensions for all the layers are the same. It's just a matter of preference. Now you're going to notice you're going to have a little bit of bubble in the cardstock, and that's because of the crease and the score lines. I'm going to come in with my bone folder and I'm going to go over those just to make sure they're nice and straight and make sure everything is nice and aligned. While we've got the card base, now is a great time to decorate it. I'm going to be using the Flowers and Bloom Designer Series paper, and I'm going to be using the stripe here for the back side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some liquid glue with the precision glue press right here. Now the precision glue press is going to be found in my craft room favorites under shop. It is not a Stampin' Up! Product, but I absolutely love it because it comes out nice and thin and it's really easy to push the trigger. I'm going to fold this flap in, and I have another piece of Designer Series paper from that exact same packet, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add that to this section. This is the front flap here at the bottom. Let's open this one up to make it nice and flat. And we have a piece of Designer Series paper here as well. We're going to go ahead and add some liquid glue, and we're going to attach that to that section. This is what the card looks like when it's closed, but I thought Designer Series paper could be placed here as well. So let's go ahead and let's work on that. This time I've got two panels that are the florals. So let's go ahead and let's add our liquid glue to these two panels as well. Now that we have all the Designer Series paper together, we can decorate it, but I want to do something special to this one. You're going to notice on the other samples I have for you that I've got different ideas here for the center, but this time I decided I wanted to make a pocket. I've got the same colored cardstock here as the base. This is Secret C. Now the pocket measures 3.5 by 8 inches. We're going to start by scoring it in half at 4 inches. Then what we're going to do is we're going to score a little bit on each side, holding it with the 3.5 inch end across the top. We're going to line this up at 1/4 inch. Now, the one reason I love the trimmer is you do have smaller dimensions of the cutting and scoring on the right as well as the left. That's going to allow me to hold more cardstock. So I'm going to line this up at the 1/4 inch here. I'm going to close this and I am going to score. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the exact same thing now on the other side. I'm going to crease up on these score lines so it's going to be easier for you to see. This is actually where the adhesive is going to go. And of course, this is the one here in the center for the pocket itself. In order for the pocket to fold correctly, you're going to want to make some slits and some mitered corners. I've got my paper snips here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to snip here just to separate those two panels. I'm going to do that now on both sides. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to make an angled cut here and here, kind of like making a triangle, and that's going to miter the corners. That's going to make it easier for it to fold. And I'm going to do the exact same thing now on this side. I'm going to use the bone folder and I'm going to go over those crease lines because I want them nice and firm so that the pocket will not bulge. This is going to be the front of my pocket, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to open that up because now we can add the Designer Series paper if you choose to do so. And I'm using that same pattern that we just did on the inside of the card, adding a little bit of liquid glue around the edges, and that's going to get centered here. I like to create a notch here on the pocket to make it intuitive and easy for the insert to be pulled out. Now you can use a small circle die or a small label punch. In my case, I'm going to be using the 1-inch circle punch. Now this punch is retired. I keep all of my punches, as I'm sure you do. I'm going to use it upside down to make it easy for me to navigate. And I'm only going to need about half of this. I'm looking here and here just to see visually if it's about the same. And then once it is, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to punch that out. That's going to leave us the perfect notch here at the top. Now we can go ahead and close up the pocket. I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet for this. Liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to it. And for pockets, I like to use tear and tape. That's nice and strong, so it's going to ensure that nothing's going to fall apart. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay the tear and tape here on that 1/4 inch section. Now the tape itself is about a 1/2 inch wide, so it's going to be a little bit wider than what we're going to need. But I'm going to give you some tips on that. I'm going to make sure that any excess is hanging off the outside of the pocket. Once the tear and tape is in place, I'm going to go ahead and press it to burnish it inside the paper. Using my Take Your Pick tool with that paper piercing tool attachment, let's go ahead and let's work on this side first. We're going to remove the paper backing. You're going to see how the tape is hanging off the side just a little bit. So all I'm going to do is roll it back on top of itself. It'll create a nice sticky edge. And now we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. Just remove that paper backing. Again, any of that excess tape is going to get rolled back up on top of itself. And now what we're going to do is we're going to close the pocket. So you're going to make sure that your tabs are going to go to the inside. And I like to work on one side at a time just to make sure that they measure up well. And then I'll come over here and make sure that tab is inside as well, and then press and seal these. Give that a good press and you've got your pocket. We're going to come back here to the card base and I'm going to attach the pocket here to the center of the inside of the card. I'm going to add some of my liquid glue around the outside perimeter. And I'm going to add extra to the center because I know that this is going to be a very stable force inside my card and I want to make sure it's going to hold well. I'm going to center this top, bottom, side to side, just visually the best that you can, and then just press that in place. Now while that's drying, let's go ahead and let's close up these panels and let's talk about decorating this. I want a greeting for the outside and I wanted to use one from the More Messages stamp. This is a single stamp that's going to give you 19 different greetings. Talk about doing a 2-for-1. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink this up and I'm using my Misty stamp positioner for this. I do have my cardstock on the little sticky mat so I know that it's going to stay in place. I'm choosing to use the Secret C ink pad, which matches our cardstock. And I like this because it means all those extra greetings are going to have a nice dark base and I can use them on other projects. I'll go ahead and I'll close the cover on the Misty onto the cardstock. And I'm using a pressing tool. Now, I absolutely love this because I have arthritic hands and I never get out a good impression. You'll find that in my craft room favorites as well. We're going to open that up and you're going to see how beautifully it stamps because we've used the stamp positioning tool. Now, there are dies for these. These are the More Messages dies. You're going to notice it's one large die, and here's what I love about it. It's going to die cut all 19 of these at one time. What you'll do is you're going to position it over the greeting where you want it. My best tip is to use the Post-it labeling and cover-up tape. And I have pieces here that I've used before because you can reuse them several times. Once you have it in place, all you're going to do is you're going to tack it down over the cardstock, across the die, in several locations. That's going to hold it in place and then run it through your die cutting machine. I've just passed that through my machine. I'm going to go ahead and save that tape. We can use that again and again. And you're going to notice that all the greetings are now going to pop out of here. I'll take the one that I'm going to use on today's card, but I will save these and I'll put them in a small cellophane bag inside that stamp set so that I can pull them out to use on future projects. Coming back here to the card base, I chose the greeting, Always Here For You. I'm going to flip that upside down here, and I'm going to grab my full-size dimensionals, and we're going to add these here to the back side. And then let's remove those paper backings. I'm going to add this here near the top center of the front gatefold, or the lower gatefold of this card. I went ahead and I pulled out the Impressions of Bloom dies. I really love these. You can see that I doubled these dies up. So I put the small one inside the large one, which gave me this flower here. And it gives you all the stitching as well. And then I used the smaller flowers for this. And of course, doubled up the leaves for the leaves here. Now the colors I chose were reminiscent to the designer series paper. That die set also has a coordinating stamp set called the same name, Impressions of Bloom. Really, really pretty. And it does have coordinating designer series paper. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on adding these embellishments to the card, and I'm going to talk about the insert. I'm going to take that large flower and I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to grab one of those dimensionals here for the back side. I'm going to place this here near the bottom, but I'm going to position it so that it doesn't cover the greeting. Then I'm going to want to add my leaves, and you can see that they might be a little bit too long. So with my paper snips, I'm going to cut that down just a little bit. I'm going to flip that over and use a little bit of liquid glue on the back side. And then this can get tucked up underneath my flower. I always check before I started hearing things because I found that I'm quite disappointed in the past when I make things too long or too short. And now that this has gotten kind of small, let's go ahead and bring in those reversible tweezers. Those are another one of my craft room favorites. It's going to help keep my fingers free of glue, and it's going to allow me to extend my reach and place those little small pieces where I want them. These small flowers I'm going to use on the center gatefold. So I'm going to place them on a small angle. Now here is where the Take Your Pick tool comes into play. I'm going to open up this flap to make it easier for me, but I'm going to pick it up with the putty tip so I have an idea on placement. I'm going to add a little bit of glue where I wanted that flower to go, and I'm going to place that right back down. I'll take this one, and I'm going to add a little glue where I want it, and place that right down as well. This attachment on the end is wonderful. Not only will it help me remove those paper backings, but it's a piercing tool. It has a small spatula in case you need to get up under those mistakes, and it also comes with a dual-ended stylus tool. That putty tip will pick up everything small. Now this last flower I'm going to purposely place where it's not going to be seen from the front gatefold. So I'm going to place it down here, and I'm just going to check before I glue it that that's going to be proper positioning. So let's go ahead and lift that, We're going to add a little bit of glue there to hold that flower in place, and we'll tack that down. Now that those are glued in place, you can see here that the lower gate is going to fit perfectly over this, but I thought this needed a little bit of an embellishment. For this, I'm using the new In Colors gems. Aren't these really pretty? They have a really pretty iridescent look to them. I'm going to take one of the larger ones. I'm going to place it right there in the center of my flower. We're going to come back here now to the pocket. Now, I did stamp this one panel ahead of time, but I do have a layer for it. Again, remember, all the cutting dimensions and supplies are listed on that free project sheet. That's linked down in the video description for you below when tonight's premiere is all over. I'm adding my liquid glue, and this is going to have a very narrow margin all the way around. Now, you could slide it in here just like it is, but I decided I wanted to put a little bit of a pull tab here. So I pulled out a 1/8 inch circle punch. This is now retired as well, but I keep all my punches, as I said. So I am just looking visually here and here to see if it's about center, and I'm going to punch, and I'm going to wiggle to release it. Now, I know the ribbon that I have chosen for this is a little bit thicker than normal, so I want to give you a tip. Put it back inside of there and just slightly move to the left or to the right, just to broaden the hole and make it a little bit wider. I have a piece of the Peach Pie ribbon, which works beautifully with the Designer Series papers. You can't beat Stampin' Up's color coordination. I'm going to dial out that little take your pick tool, and I'm going to dial in the stylus tool, and that's going to help me get that ribbon through the hole. I'm going to hold the end of the ribbon over the hole, and I'm going to poke, and that's going to bring that ribbon right through. I'm twisting the ribbon to make sure that I have the pretty ends to the front. And you could tie a knot if you want, but in my case, I brought in a piece of white baker's twine, and I'm actually going to cinch this and the baker's twine underneath it, and I'm going to make a single tie. So I'm just going to move this down, and then I'm going to pull tightly. I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to make a knot out of this to make sure that this piece of linen thread doesn't come undone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow. So you can make a small bow here if you'd like, and if you don't like doing that, you can just cut your raw ends and just leave a little tail on your baker's twine, and I'm just going to pull that tightly. Now, if you're like me and your bow is too big or one side is bigger than the other, let me give you another tip. Press or pinch the knot, and then take one of the raw ends and slowly pull it to get the size of the loops that you want. It's going to ensure that you don't lose the tension here in the center. I'm going to come in now with my paper snips. I'm going to make my twine a little bit shorter, and I'm going to take my ribbons and I'm going to cut these a little shorter as well. This now is all ready to go down inside of our pocket, and you'll see that the ribbon rests nicely inside the notch. This is a little bit smaller than your typical A2 size card, but it's going to fit in a standard envelope perfectly. Now let me share with you those other cards that I created with a different variation of cardstock size. This next sample is going to be using the Pretty Florals bundle, the stamps and the dies. Very, very abundant. You can see here that you can make 3D flowers as well as die cut the outline images. And here is the card I created. Unlike this one, this uses 5.5 by 12 inch. You're going to see that the card is a little bit wider and a little bit taller. Fits still in a standard A2 size envelope. Gives you a little bit more area for larger images and obviously display your Designer Series paper. Because of Stampin' Up's color coordination, I was able to use Designer Series paper from various packages to mix and match this beautiful card. So I stamped my flowers here to coordinate with my Designer Series paper. I left this very simple, and instead of the pocket, you're going to notice that I have a card here that you can open up and write and sign inside. So this is a very simple version of this card, just a little bit bigger. You're going to have templates for this card as well inside the project sheet so that you can make either size. Now I have one more for you. This one uses the Sweet Jar bundles, stamps and coordinating punch. This is a lot of fun, and it can be used for lots and lots of occasions. I decided I wanted mine to be a masculine birthday card. So I'm going to show you what I did here. It's the same 5.5 by 12 that we used here. The lower gatefold on this one is going to house my jar and my lid with my greeting. And I'm going to open it up to the lower gatefold. The Timeless Plaid Designer Series paper made this a perfect masculine feel. Now, while this itself is the same note card feature as here, you're going to see that I added ribbon down the center, and I added a bow at the top so that when the card is closed, it looks like a gift box. But when you open this one, there's a little surprise inside. I added a greeting to the top where I can obviously sign my name, but I added a gift card to the center with a simple single glue dot, which means it's nice and loose and it can be twisted off easily. Now the die that I used for this, as well as the little banner here on the front of the card, is one of my favorites. It's from Nested Essential Dies. You'll see it here. I love anything that has staggering sizes because it's quite versatile. So you've got 2 different sizes and a couple different variations. So will you make yours with the pocket? Will you make yours with just the note card top, or perhaps use yours as a gift card holder? There's really no right or wrong way depending on the cardstock and the designer series papers that you have. As always, I love to know your favorite. Will you create the one with 12 by 12 with a pocket, without a pocket, or will you use regular 8.5 by 11 to make your card? Leave your comments below because your feedback is so important to me as I design new future projects for you. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our YouTube channel members. You'll recognize them because they have a crown in front of their name. They get custom badges and emojis, and they have the opportunity to buy merchandise that we have designed. If you'd like to join or learn more, just click the join button under today's video. Finally, membership has its perks. There are 2 levels to choose from, and a PDF tutorial comes to your inbox every single Monday. It does not matter what country you live in, and these projects I designed specifically for members. They are not shared anywhere else. Level 1 includes a basic card with pictures, cutting dimensions, and supplies for that project. None of the projects are watermarked, so you are welcome to share them with others. Level 2 includes everything in Level 1, but it also includes a monthly fun fold card. It also includes a discount for my PDF tutorial library. And of course, everybody in Level 2 is entered into a product giveaway that we do every single month. We choose 5 winners. Level 1 is $5 a month, and Level 2 is $10 a month to give you lots of flexibility. You'll find all the information on my website in the red menu bar titled Memberships. While you're over on my website, poke around there. There's a lot of information there for you, but if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a small form. We would love to have you sign up for my free weekly e-newsletter so we can keep you in the know about all the sales and promotions happening with Stampin' Up! And here at Lisa's Stamp Studio. And of course, we're going to keep you inspired. I am so glad that you were here with me today. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.